Happy Wednesday, everybody. It is time for patch 12.19. I guess you could say this is the beginning of preseason stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Beginning of the end?
Sure. Yeah, we got some changes coming in. They mentioned some like off meta builds. We got the Syndra midscope coming in, so that's exciting. You want to talk about EG and how they triumphed today over the past few days?
EG shit on Mad.
They've been so they did lose to DFM. The first day EG did not play very well, right? First day of play-ins, they did not play very well. Day 2 on Friday, they played very well. Saturday they played
Decent.
decently, and they lost to DFM, a game where they should have won realistically. And that put them into a tiebreaker situation on Sunday after they won. They had tiebreak with DFM. So what did they play? DFM like 4 times?
It was a lot.
Yeah. And actually, I should check to see how DFM's doing right now because
they
they're
are
playing RNG.
down 2-1 in the series with RNG. So
They won the first game pretty handily
Right.
too. But it looks like they're actually getting pounded right now.
yeah, I think I think it's safe to say that RNG.
Probably has this cleared up. All right. But yeah, they played well, and then they kind of like went downhill and they went right back uphill. They played a series earlier today, and just Mad Lions wasn't even on the same page, the same skill level. They were just lost against EG. I mean, the first game, I feel like EG really just tilted Mad Lions.
Bro, Inspired is insane. He not only
the
is
Maokai
I was gonna say-
Baron Steel,
not only is he insane, he's insane on tanks.
everything. Like that Maokai Baron Steel though, dude. Did he twisted advance in to get the smite or something like that? Like
He twisted
what
advance and then
the
flashed into the pit and got the smite and like
Yeah, that was insane. And it's just like name a better duo, EG and Baron Pit. Like,
and
can
Danny
you
wasn't
beat
even
that?
there.
Right?
the
It
crazy
wasn't
part.
Danny and Baron Pit. It's just EG and Baron Pit. Maybe that's what it is.
But no, yeah,
And-
like they
ahead.
go ahead. No, you finish your thought.
I was gonna say, just even on the point of Danny not being there, Cowrie is actually playing very well.
He is.
They're putting him on the right champions that are allowing him to perform the way he needs to. And right now they got a little lucky too because it switched from a bot carry meta to a top carry meta, so they're able to fully utilize Impact, who's been playing out of his mind both on Aatrox and other champions as well. But the Aatrox was a
I know.
good one. And
I said this to you earlier. Like, why is Aatrox allowed? Like that. It's so
Busted.
gross. Like, and I know we talked about it. He just hadn't been touched in the last few patches leading up to Worlds, and
right,
he's literally in every game.
pretty much, dude.
So whoever chose him as like the most picked in Champ Select, you win.
See, I thought he would be most banned. I definitely picked him as most banned.
That was a tricky one. Like, man, yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm like, yeah, this guy's broken. Like, they gotta ban him, and they're not. They're just letting him through. I'm like, fuck. How is he getting most picked? This isn't fair.
It's literally Aatrox and Maokai, like every
Right.
fucking game, dude. It's sick.
Right.
It's sick to see. So yeah, as of right now, I mean, maybe by the end of this episode, we'll probably have the fourth team. It's gonna be RNG. Come on, we know it's gonna be RNG.
Yeah,
But
at this point.
so right now, Fnatic, DRX, EG, and presumably RNG are going to the group stage. So
Yes.
games start up on Thursday.
I think Friday.
I think it. I only think it's
Yeah,
Thursday.
Friday, October 7th.
Oh, the 7th. Okay.
Yep.
So the game's going on to Monday. Oh no,
Friday,
week 1
Saturday,
is never mind.
Sunday, Monday, then Thursday.
It's the following week because the following week is when they do each group each day.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, cool. So Friday, yeah, we're getting games, baby. Be kicked back up real soon, but yeah, EG doing work. Mad Lions just shit the bed, and it's all
Again.
history now. But I don't know. I'm just hella stoked.
Dude, I'm stoked on EG winning. Seriously,
Feels
that was
good.
so good because that was the you lose and you go home, and NA versus EU in like the last 3 years has just been
They've only
turbo
had
loss.
this was the third best of 5 ever between EU and NA.
Yeah, and I think that EU is undefeated, right?
Right. They had
Until today.
every match at meetup it was a loss. So
Yeah.
God
so,
bless EU or EG, I should say, for
Right.
breaking that curse.
Thank y'all. I do appreciate that, guys, for helping us out here. So hopefully, when it gets into the actual group
Pretty
stage,
sure their group is fucked.
yeah,
I think they have EG
Oh, dude,
and
they have-
Damwon Kia.
they have they have Damwon. Do they have? No, I think they have. I know they have JDG. I don't
JDG,
remember.
that's it. Yeah, no, they have JDG, Damwon. Do they have top?
No, they don't have top. They have where the it's like oh, it's not gonna update. Where is the JDG group? Oh, they have G2.
Oh,
G2,
right.
Damwon, JDG, and
Rip.
EG.
Good luck,
Yeah.
boys. It ain't gonna happen.
And I believe that Fnatic gets put into. I think they get put into the Gen G group with 100 Steves. I was trying to remember what Quickshot's graphic when he was writing on it, but the only one I really remember was where EG was going because I just needed to see that. So, yeah, it should be a good one. We're primed for a fun world. It's nice to see all our teams make it through, and even though EU got their extra seed, it did not matter. They still ended up with 3. So let's go.
Let's fucking go.
But enough about those. We got a note about Syndra. We got a response, and maybe the question just was too open ended and people didn't know how to respond. But Thoticus, my boy, in here, we asked you guys, how do you feel about these changes to Syndra? Thoticus said, I don't play Syndra to know how much these will affect her, but I did want to ask which champion you think will be strong or weak against her now with these changes. Or do you think the matchup stayed the same? And I think that's a good question. I think we started to talk about that on the episode a little bit. I remember mentioning like a Veigar that could be a similar style champion. Maybe not strong or weak against her, but in a similar vein, you could play that, be a skill matchup. I still think Assassins are going to be strong against Syndra. She's, albeit is she a control mage or... she's a burst mage, I guess,
Both.
right?
I say you could argue both.
A little bit of control, a little bit of burst, a little bit of artillery, like because she's definitely a skill spammer, right? Like a Veigar or a Xerath, but she doesn't have the AOE or the distance that they have, right? Which takes her a little bit out of the artillery range. She definitely controls with where her dark spheres are. And then she definitely is a burst mage. She for sure has burst capability that like similar to where Xerath is. Obviously, if Xerath hits you with a stun, he's just gonna unload his whole kit on you, right? And it's a similar thing with Syndra. She hits you with a stun, she's gonna try to unload another sphere and then an ulti. So I would think that she's gonna have similar counters as a Xerath, which is typically assassins that can get in and just blow you up. And champions that can move around the map a little bit faster than her. So in a 1v1, so it's hard to, I'm not sure if you're asking game counters or lane counters. I'm assuming you're asking lane counters.
Probably.
So I would refer to like a Zed, a Talon, champions that are just gonna, obviously they're not gonna farm on par with her. Zed might just because he has some range abilities, but it's the champions that want to blow you up. They look at you and go, fuck you, I'm blow you up. Even Kassadin might be in that group as well, right?
I think even before the change, champions that always have. I mean, she doesn't have reliable CC, but her CC is the area is large, and after reading the changes, it's going to be even bigger. So I think any champion that has like just massive CC is going to be useful no matter what. Like, sure, it's nice to get, and she has reliable damage at least, like with her ulti point and click. Like she'll get the full damage off she can if they're in range of the point and click.
Right.
What I like about this change is now you can kind of chill. Like you're like, okay, I got to get the 120 things to upgrade. I'm just gonna chill and farm. Like, if I get shit on, it won't be as rough as before, I guess. Like, because you're gonna hit a point where you're gonna get a massive power spike. At 120, you get that extra 15% damage, right? Or the AP. Was that what it was?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe so.
So it's like you don't have to get ahead as early. Obviously, I feel like she could probably bully some champions. I think like you mentioned like Zed. I mean, realistically, you could just build a Seekers and you'd probably be fine. Just sit on that, and you could just
Right.
bully from afar. But I mean, like I said, if she gets shit on, you still have a point to like you'll be able to reach that point eventually.
Yes.
Whereas if you get shit on, you're dying, you're not being able to level up enough, you can't max your abilities and get the bonus. I really want her to be played in bot lane. I want that. So it's like she might be able to harass if she's being played bot lane. She can definitely harass the short range ADCs like Varus. If you see like Vayne, I mean Vayne has a tumble, so she can get out of the way. But like maybe would probably suffer. And again, this is just bot lane. It'd probably suffer against like long range, like obviously like the Caitlyn's. Maybe would struggle against Kai'Sa just because Kai'Sa's so nimble. But I think
I can see that.
as far as like mid lane, I think she could probably bully like Silas, Zed, maybe not LeBlanc. I think LeBlanc is too slippery. Yeah, again,
No, LeBlanc is definitely too slippery. LeBlanc probably would be a good counter to her. I'm just thinking like any champion that just wants to go in and blow her up should be fine. She does not do too well when champions are jumping right on top of her. You know what I mean? Or champions that outrange her.
she has better scaling options now, and I think
Yes.
that's like kind of I don't want to call it a backup plan, but it's kind of like a fail-safe thing. It's like, oh shit, I'm dying, but oh wait, I just gotta land my abilities. We just gotta wait a little
Right.
bit, and boom, I'm gonna have a power spike. So
Right. Yeah, I don't know that there's like a true counter.
also it'll come down to
that-
skill matchup.
Right, and I don't think there's gonna be too much that changes with her counter plays or whatever, you know. It looks like just according to some of the statistics, Zoe, Swain, Zed, Cassidon, Victor,
yeah.
and Akali are her toughest matchups, and I don't think that will change. In lane, I think that as she scales up with her splinters, I think then you might see some changes in her power levels and what she could do, but I think that the counters are going to remain intact. So yeah, the best way to answer that question, I guess, is just to say that I don't think the counters really change.
I'll try to play some Syndra. Maybe I'll play some Syndra jungle.
She seems fun. Yeah.
No. All right. Well, thank you, Thoticus, and that was it. So let's move into the patch. So
Yeah.
Let me get this on screen. Boom. There we go. 12:19, baby.
There's a lot of changes, a metric fuck ton of changes. Only a couple of nerfs, but a shit ton of buffs, and obviously the Syndra adjustment. And then there is an Eclipse. They're calling it a nerf.
And
Sure, I would call it the most minor nerf in the world, but you know,
it's
we'll get there.
we'll get to it. I think they buffed. It evens out.
Right. So the first thing on here obviously is Syndra. I'm not going to bore you with that. We talked about all this shit. Check out the Syndra episode.
Yep.
I'm not even looking to see if the numbers have changed. Check out the Syndra episode. Well, you can compare and contrast with the graphic
I think they're
here.
just briefly what I'm reading. It looks more or less the same as what we went over.
Right. That's what I'm thinking too. So I think those numbers were pretty much released as a final piece there. So yeah. Let's move on. So the real first champion on this list is Blitzcrank.
Oh, Blitzcrank. Here we go.
And I just want to give you a little bit on the blurb because I think this is interesting and I think this is kind of fun to talk about too. So, fun fact, Blitzcrank was initially designed as a fighter champion. While they found their place in the support role over the years, we still think it could be fun to let the great Steam Golem try their hand at something other than grabbing. We're buffing some more fighter parts of Blitz's kit to make them more of a proficient duelist at as little of a cost to their primary support playstyle as possible. So put on those Boom Boom Blitzcrank skins and get punching. Ha ha ha. Um, a lot. There's a lot here. So the base stats. The base attack speed is gonna go up by a I don't know.
0.025.
Yeah, 0.025. Yeah, I don't know what that makes it, but you know. So from 0.625 to 0.65, and the attack speed ratio, which is I don't is that the growth, I guess? I'm not sure what attack speed ratio means versus base attack speed. From 0.625 to 0.7. So that's got to be the growth or something like that. You're growing by that much each level. The W overdrive, the mana cost is going up by 10 from 75 to 85, and the bonus attack speed is going to go up greatly. So it was 30 to 62%. It's now 40 to 92%. So hitting the W and running is also going to let you punch a lot faster. He does have a low base attack speed. Remember that. So 92% isn't going to give him that much. You're probably looking at 1.3. Let's see. If you're at level... I'm trying to think what this is maxed. This is usually maxed, I think, second, because the E doesn't matter. There's no...
Well, we'll see about that.
Right. So I think it's usually maxed second. So what does that make it? About a level 13 that this is maxed out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably looking at maybe 1.5 attack speed while it's active, and it's only active for a few seconds. So I don't think it's going to make a big deal unless he's already pulled you and he wants to start punching the shit out of you. And they're adding a new piece here. So attacks during W deal an additional 1% of the target's maximum HP and magic damage. Against non-champions, this damage is increased by an extra 60 to 180 based on level.
You know what that means, baby.
Jungle Blitz is back.
Jungle Blitzcrank, baby. Let's go.
I remember that. You just pull someone over, like you stand in Tribrush and pull someone out of the river, and they're like, what the fuck just happened? So that's pretty gross. The E, the Power Fist, the mana cost is going up from 25 to 40. The knockup duration is going up by 1/10 of a second from 0.9 to 1 full second. The empowered auto attack damage was 200% total AD. It's now going to include a 25% AP ratio to that number. And a new piece to this says against non-champions, Blitzcrank's E empowered auto attacks deal a bonus 150% total AD and 125% AP damage.
That's nuts.
That's pretty nuts. Again, that's for clear speed.
What is the Power Fist is a really low cooldown relatively, right?
I'd have to look it up.
Let's
Off
see.
the top of my head, I want to say it's like 3 seconds, but it doesn't scale down in cooldown,
Yeah,
I
so
believe.
I was gonna say it's like definitely it makes sense to level up the W second. Keep going. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah. We'll hit the ulti, the static field. So the maximum stacks from the passive was 3, and that was how many lightning bolts would pop down, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's now unlimited, so you'll just keep getting them. The magic damage from the stacks on hit was 50 to 150 with a 30% AP ratio. All they're doing is they're changing that AP ratio to scale up with the level of the ability, so it's going to scale 30 to 50% total AP. That's the only change there. And the magic damage was 275 to 570, or sorry, to 525 with 100% AP ratio. You're going to keep the base, but you're going to gain an extra 25% on that AP ratio. And one thing I want to note, if you guys are reading this side by side or watching the YouTube video, you'll see that Riot has done away with the gray strike through, and they've gone to bolding what they're actually changing. So
Great.
it's
Wonderful.
maybe easier to read the old values, maybe slightly more difficult to read the new values. I would like to see if they would underline that a little bit, because sometimes it doesn't quite stand out. The bold is not that much bolder than the other text.
So what are we thinking? Like it says fighter, but everything is basically AP scaling. I know the Power Fist does double the bonus AD or your base AD. Is that what it
Right.
does?
Yes.
And
No, total AD. Sorry.
total AD. Okay. But you look at the passive. So I wanted to say, like, I feel like attack speed is gonna be really fucking good on this dude. Aside from the steroid boost on his W, like the fact that his alt passive has unlimited stack. How long does it, when you auto attack something? How long does it take for that stack to pop? It's like half. Is it like half a second? Because it like
It's pretty
charges really
quick.
quick. One
Yeah,
second.
it's pretty quick because you build up the charges.
One
and then,
second.
Like once you attack, yeah, you see actually what's nice is ever since they changed that, there's like a little meter underneath the unit, and so you can see when it's gonna hit.
So could you imagine him just like, and then just like pops that damage like it?
So here's what I think. I think Blitzcrank. I think he builds a man immune just for his passive works with the tier. And then B, he gets the AD. If you're getting total AD and you're stacking mana, you'd be fine there. And I think he also probably opts into like a Nashor's Tooth or something like that for some AP and some attack speed to keep him relevant there with the W. And then he probably goes tank the rest of the way. And depending on how the matchup is, he probably goes either tank or more of a bruiser style build, if I had to guess right now.
I feel like he's gonna, and I guess slight spoilers for Friday's episode. We're gonna be going over the larger PBE changes that they're teasing us. A few of the Sunfire items are no longer mythics. So it's basically it's gonna open up some build paths that I think are pretty sick. So like I could see, I mean, obviously he has mainly AP scaling, so
Yes.
I feel like he could probably do the Nashers like Frozen or the Sunfire Gauntlet, whatever the fuck, which one, and then like Demonic Embrace.
Right.
Like just mega tank, like kind of like how Shyvana goes or whatever nonsense. Can you imagine if you fucking ran lethal tempo on this dude and just get into a fight and just like machine gun?
Busted.
I don't know. This is cool. This is really unexpected, and I feel like he could probably be very good being jungled.
I mean, obviously they were trying to push him there. I could see, and he has a gank pattern. Obviously, he's got the W in the hook, so he's got some range to do it. Don't be surprised if you start seeing in your games. It is preseason after all. We're moving into that preseason, and Riot's fully about to embrace it. So, moving on. What do we got next? Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention the bug fix. I guess there was a problem where Blitzcrank's W movement speed was decaying inconsistently or too quickly. They have fixed that, they claim.
Moving on to Echo. Passive damage increase, damage against monsters decrease, bonus movement speed increase early, R damage increased later, AP scaling increased. All right. Passive Z Drive, Resonance. I said Renaissance.
Bucket.
Third proc damage was 30 to 140 based on level with an 80% AP scaling. It's going to keep the same base, but the AP scaling is going up by 10, so it is now 90. And then the Chrono Break magic damage base was 150 to 450 with 150% AP scaling. Now that base is going to 200 to 500, and the AP scaling is going up by 25 to 175 AP. That's
They
pretty
forgot to
big.
bold all those changes on there too. Nice one. I think this is just a way to keep the AP Echo intact. Because obviously, I think we remember that he can also do pretty well building tankier items and like tankier AP bruiser style items.
I'm confused.
Good.
It says damage decreased against monsters. Where does it say that?
Good question.
Because usually it would say like, oh, against non-champions.
Yeah, it doesn't say. So maybe they goofed or
Typo.
Or they left that in there when that got removed, maybe. So,
damn it, Riot! I was
going for him.
about to fucking keep praising you for everything.
I know. Well, you can even see. It looks like this one's messed up, anyways. Like they forgot to bold the changes on his ulti, so I'm sure something happened where things changed here. And I'm sure if we go down and find a tweet from Riru or Ether, we might be able to find out what happened there.
But tell me about
all right, yeah, I don't really
Fizz.
have anything else to say about Echo, so we'll move on to Fizzy here. Fizz getting a AP scaling increased on the Playful Trickster. He's getting an extra 15% AP from 75 to 90% AP scaling. So he hasn't been everywhere recently. I've seen him a couple times as AD or a little bit more of a fighter style. So it looks like they're trying to put him back into the mage / assassin style. So Be on the lookout for Fizz. He should be on there. I mean, 90% AP ratio on the E is not too crazy because that's more of a dodge ability than it is a damage ability. But if you hit it, it does some good damage. I mean, at max rank with 270 base damage and 90% AP, that should do a lot. I mean, you're talking 700 damage probably.
Yeah,
So-
and if you have death cap and like 6
Right.
items,
Right.
yeah, it's gonna hurt.
Right. So
All right, Garen, E critical strike damage increase. Let's go, dude.
wonderful.
So
This champion's a fucking menace. Why are we doing this?
E judgment critical strike damage was 58% plus 1% per 1% bonus critical strike damage. Now
What
it
does
is
that mean?
75% plus 1% per 1% bonus critical. So it's like he
That
every
just means if you build IE, right?
well, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio, right? Or it's like 1% per 1. Yeah, so if you have 20% crit, it does 20% extra damage.
Well, no, that's critical strike chance. This is critical strike damage.
Oh, okay. Right.
So that only matters if you build IE. I'm pretty sure.
Per 1% per 1% bonus.
That's written so poorly. I don't even want to spend time trying to figure it out because it's written so poorly. Sometimes, like, they just need to spend some time actually editing this shit.
Tell him, Tyler.
It's so unnerving. I can't even get
Are
into
you
it. It's gonna piss
also
me
hold
off.
on? Stop everything right now. They forgot to put a fucking
I
parenthesis
know.
at the end of it.
That's why I think
I'm done. I'm off the podcast.
I think some of this shit got fucked up because they just forgot to like go back and
I literally got up
do
and
a
walked
look
away from my
over.
computer. Hold on, I dropped my headphone.
Well,
Okay, I'm back.
how the turntables. No, okay. Let's move on to Jinx. Fuck trying to figure out what the fuck that means. That's stupid. Jinx base AD increased. Our base damage to primary target increased. She's getting 2 damage on her base AD. I don't know why they're doing that because I still feel like she's still decently relevant, although she's not the ADC of choice. Still decently relevant. So she's going from 57 to 59 on her base AD. So that's the early game difference at level 1. And the Super Mega Death Rocket is going to gain 50 damage at all ranks on the primary target. That means the target that it hits and explodes on. They're not changing the splash damage. So it goes from 250 to 550. Now it's going to be 300 to 600.
All right, moving down to Kaisa. Passive AP ratio increased. So the 5th stack proc damage was 15% plus 5% per 100 AP of target's missing health. Now it is 15% plus 6% per 100 AP of target's missing health. This is just telling me like AP Kaisa is probably going to be what did they used to do? Was it before Luden's? Like, I mean, to go Nashor's.
Build Nashor's Tooth to get the AP. That's an instant upgrade on the AP, right?
And the
So that's
attack. It
instant
should
upgrade
be
on
on
the
the.
W.
No, not maybe it's not instant on the attack speed. Yeah, it's AP instant on the AP.
Yeah.
So it might be worth to just go like AP carry on her.
It could be. It might still be worth building AD, but you throw in, instead of maybe going Wit's End, you throw in Nashor's instead. Maybe. I'm just spitballing here.
Because what I'm thinking of is like, it's gonna sound super boomer, but back in the day when Rageblade gave AP, it was really fucking good on her.
Dude. Right.
So it'd be like Nashor's Rageblade. Like, I could see.
Dude, I see a world where Rageblade's still good on her because it does double proc, every third hit double procs passives. So that could still be good.
It just, you'd have to, in like a scenario, you'd have to see if that value is greater than the value of like a 1200% crit or 1200 damage
Sure.
crit, you know? So,
Sure.
but I could see.
Sure, yeah.
Just
How much are you able to stack that passive, or how fast are you able to do that onto something? That makes sense.
So I'd see at least building Nashor's would probably feel really fucking good. So
I think it still does. It still feels good, but getting that extra percent of targets missing health, that's the execute portion of that. An extra percentage of that. I mean, she is a collector builder anyways, so that's just an extra added piece to that. She's one of the few ADCs that doesn't always opt for lifesteal, but if you're gonna cut out a wit's end, you probably go Bork anyways to opt in for lifesteal and attack speed. Um,
I feel like
the
they
question
need.
is, do you? Oh, go ahead.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
finish.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I always interrupt you. Keep going.
No. You're fine. I was gonna say, I wonder, like, does she become an EW upgrade and then you just forego the Q? Like, because the Q, obviously, if you're gonna build Nashor's Tooth, you want to build that early, right? Because you want to be able to get that. You want to access that better execute faster, and then obviously you would want Kraken Slayer for attack speed, and then you need Bork for lifesteal because I don't think that Bloodthirster does very well for her.
I think it also comes down to again the crit question.
Right. I guess yeah. I guess it depends on how you want to build her and what you're going up against too.
Well, I was gonna say like
Yeah, go ahead.
in the yellow tree, I feel like what's the attack speed one? Is it? It's not Alacrity, is it? What is?
Yeah, Legend Alacrity.
I feel like that rune is just useless. Like because the middle one is Tenacity, and then the last one is Lifesteal. I'm pretty sure like. And on top of that, you take Lethal Tempo as Kaisa. You do not need to get that little like what is it 8% attack speed when it's maxed out.
Something like that.
Which by the way, those fucking runes still aren't fixed. It will literally say 0% towards your next like goal or whatever. But then when you hover over it, it's like, oh, giving 8% attack speed. I mean,
this is maxed out, and then like it didn't finish, like it didn't stop calculating until like after you killed the wave or whatever. It's dumb.
But what I'm
It's
getting at
stupid.
is since Lethal Tempo is like the main thing that people take, there's no point in taking that. So the only life steal you could probably, I mean, I guess you could throw a Bloodthirster in. I don't know, but you get that 6% off the rune.
Right. I generally feel like Bork is just better for her because obviously she gets the attack speed proc that should get you to the invisibility on the E. But if you're going Kraken Slayer, you're probably gonna have that already. I don't know. Maybe you do go Bloodthirster because you're gonna get that on the Kraken Slayer.
I don't think I would go because if I went,
Mashers.
yeah, I was gonna say if I go Kraken, I don't think I would go Bork just because like Kraken's true damage might be a little bit better than the on hit from Bork.
True.
But
But I feel like, yeah, I don't know. She probably has one of the most expansive build sets of all the ADCs out there.
yeah,
Because you can slot in so many different items. We talked about Ginsu's. Like, if you go Kraken, you might as well go Ginsu's because you want to be able to double proc the true damage, right? And you could possibly double proc the passive to get more damage there as well. So like that's an option. She could go. I guess you could go Shield Bow, or you could go Gale Force. She's a champion that does want to go in, so the Gale Force could help as like an execute. I don't know. It's interesting champion. I would always, and I've never tried this. Obviously, everyone goes Lethal Tempo. I would always be curious what PTA looks like on her, just because she has that passive that pops.
right.
I'm always curious what press the attack looks like in terms of the damage profile. Like, are you getting more than just getting more auto attacks? I don't know. Something to ask. Maybe if you go Ginsu's, maybe you do go PTA because you can get the proc faster. I don't know. Anyways, let's move down to Malphite. Basically, what you need to know about Kaisa is that her AP builds are going to be a little bit more relevant, and she probably will build Nashor's Tooth now instead of Wit's End. So, that being said, Malphite. WAP scaling increased, RAP scaling increased. The big tanky rock is getting some magic damage added to his kit, which means he's going to continue to not be the big tanky rock, and he's going to be the mage rock, the magical rock. Thunderclap is going to get an extra 10% on the AP scaling. So it was a 20% AP ratio. It's now going to be a 30% AP ratio. And you're going to see the same thing with Unstoppable Force. Unstoppable Force was an 80% ratio. It's now a 90% ratio. The base is going to remain the same. So
Can't wait
still
for that
an AP
NARAM.
builder. Yeah, I know, right? It's fucking annoying.
Move down to Master Yi. 80 growth decreased. E80 scaling decreased. Thank God, because I'm still banning this champion because like I'm playing a lot of Malphite and a lot of like Hecarim, and I feel like Yi can just shit on them. Like, what do you?
Yeah, he does.
Sure, Malphite has the W to CC him,
Right.
but he's just gonna sit there and auto attack you to death. So
I played a game the other day with a Yi support with a Yi jungle, and like he said, he didn't carry the game. We actually carried the game through our misfortune, aka Steven. But the Yi he carried the early game, and he was able to outplay Kha'Zix early, and then Kha'Zix kind of got going, and it became the Maokai show. But like, I was surprised I haven't seen a Yi in a while, and I thought he still looked pretty fucking strong. I mean, obviously their team didn't have a whole lot of hard CC, so they had to rely on Kha'Zix's isolation damage. But beyond that, he's still a strong champion, so it's good to see a little bit of a nerf here.
It's not that much, to be honest.
It's not.
Attack damage growth was 2.5, now it's 2.2. And the bonus true damage on his E is just losing 5% on the bonus AD scaling from 35 to 30%. So it's just very, very small nerf.
Right. Why don't you give him the next champ too? Because
the
you know
dog.
more about this champ. Yeah.
So this this was the one. Usually I don't like to spoil the patch notes before we read it because I like reacting to it as we do it. But
Yeah.
I had to check this out. Plus, this was supposed to be on the previous patch. But if this hit 12/18 and was at Worlds, I swear to God, NASA support would be in every fucking game. But
Yes.
it explains to you. So start with his Q. The empowered basic attack is getting an extra 50 bonus range. So his normal attack range is 125. Prior, it was 150 when you use your Q. Now it's going to become 175 when you use your Q. So we'll always say bonus range on melees, big. One
Yes.
Teemo is big.
Yes.
Here we go. This is the stupid part. Wither, because this ability needs a buff. 50%.
This ability.
And I was gonna look. Can you do me a favor? Look up these stats because I need to know what the movement speed on Wither is because it does not state it here. But
Okay.
the attack speed slow, 50% of movement speed, 50% of whatever the slow is. Prior it was 23.5 to 47.5%. Now it is. Never mind. I'm stupid. It's giving me the numbers here. Or no, wait. What the fuck? Yeah, read me whatever the movement speed slow is. Tell me that right now.
So the max slow was 47 to 95, with an additional slow per second being 3 to 15%.
Okay, so it caps out at 95.
Yes.
Okay, so then you 95, and then you take 50% of that. Whatever. That's how. So now it's going to be 75% of whatever based on what level you're in.
Let me read it to you in the context of what this says as well. This might make more sense too. So it says Nasus ages the target enemy champion for 5 seconds, slowing them by 35% and crippling them by 75% of that amount, both increasing every second for the duration. So the cripple obviously is the attack damage as slow as 35%, all the way up to 95%. So I think that's how that with the scaling per second there at max rank, either your maximum slow would be 95.
So I'm assuming because it's 75% of movement speed. New attack speed slow values is 35 and a quarter. Now it's going to go all the way up to 70 or to max out at 71 and a quarter slow. That's
Some bastard already changed it in here.
they did.
Yeah.
It's regardless. That's fucking insane. I wholeheartedly believe you should be maxing this second now.
Dude, it's so broken. The cripple is so broken.
Considering sure the Spirit Fire does, I believe it does percentage of target's armor, right? Like reduces. I think that's what it is.
Spirit Fire does. All right, so it does armor reduction.
In percentage,
but
right?
It does magic damage per tick. So let's see. Yeah, so unleashes a Spirit of Sight for 2.5 seconds after a quarter-second delay, dealing magic damage. The fire then remains for 5 seconds, dealing magic damage each second to enemies within and inflicting them with armor reduction, lingering for 1 second. And it was 25 to 45% armor reduction.
Okay, so if you're going against a tank, I should just retract this. If you're going against a tank, absolutely max that second. Actually, to be fair, you should probably be putting 3 points into that because early as Nasus, I don't think you're going to get very many Q's farms in. I'm just giving a lecture on Nasus farming now.
Right.
But if you're against Darius, if you're against Fiora, if you're against Jax, you want to be maxing Wither. Bro, they literally can't fucking move.
Right.
when it ramps up to a 95% slow, and it's going to
Yeah.
max out at a 71.25% attack speed slow. This is why I was saying this. If this would have hit, just imagine NASA's support. Just what champions
your
are
ADC is not going anywhere.
what
unless they have
champions are OP?
cleanse.
Yeah, like Callista. What you can't. What are you? How are you jumping with a NASA
Right.
slowing you?
You're gonna have to press Q to get the fuck out, and then you only have one opportunity to do that, right?
Like full on like ability haste NASA's just max
AP ability
W.
haste NASA's support.
So like you're just thinking of like, well, what are the champions that are getting played bot lane? I mean, Callista is a big one. She's getting banned a lot in Worlds. Kai'Sa's another one. Trying to fuck. I can't even.
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn, Aphelios.
Aphelios.
Especially champions like that don't have escapes. Like you're just
So
you're,
Aphelios, I will say, is one of the few that relies a bit more on his abilities that are attack speed irrelevant. But like Draven,
yeah, right. You can't get away.
right,
It's
right.
gross.
You have Draven will try, but there's not much he can do there. And even your supports, I mean, you have like Tom, Braum, Nautilus, Leona right now. And if you're playing solo queue, there's still a lot of enchanters. So the enchanters probably be okay, but that just means your ADC's in trouble. So you don't have any mitigation there if you're playing enchanter versus something like that. So
I really
this
want,
might be a fun one to pick up.
I want you to try NASA's support when this comes out.
All right,
I think it'd be
I'll do it.
fun.
I'll do it.
And then finally, Fury of the Sands, his ultimate is getting a buff. First off, his size when he ults is getting he's going to increase in size now. So it was
Match
30.
Cho'Gath.
He was a 30% size increase. Now it's going to scale up. It's going from 30% to 40%. So he's going to be a bit of a bigger Doge.
Big pupper.
And then, of course, with that, the AoE from his ultimate is going to increase based on his size. That makes sense. And then the damage tick is going from every 1 second to every half second, but the overall damage is staying the same. So it's going to tick a
Do
little
you
bit
think
faster.
at any point he might gain some relevance? And obviously Divine Sunder is like the best item on him. Do you think at any point he might gain some relevance in building Frostfire Gauntlet, just out of curiosity, just for the size increase and the ulti increase and the additional slow?
Like I said earlier, I don't know what else they're changing, but Sunfire items are no longer mythics.
Right.
So you could build Sunder.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I don't.
you can build
Again,
both.
I'm assuming if it's not going to be a mythic, they're going to get rid of that mythic passive.
Right. That's true. That is true.
But I mean, sure, Sunfire item. He just needs the Sheen item though. Like Sunder.
Right.
Yeah.
The sheen is pretty disgusting. Don't get me wrong. Just was curious if you thought like I mean.
Just a Cho'Gath sized Nasus just running around. That'd be funny.
Cho'Gath sized Nasus that maybe has Essence Reaver, so he doesn't run out of
Oh,
mana.
crit Nasus, baby. Let's go.
Oh, there's a possibility. There's a world. There's a world.
There's Campbell's. There's possibilities.
There's a world that exists. I mean, you could do that now before they change all those. You could run Frostfire with it and see with an Essence Reaver. And
Oh my god.
just out of curiosity,
I'm
I would just I mean, his Q scales on his AD, so it's not like it's a terrible thing, right? And then you get mana back, and you get a little bit of crit for it. But like, really, it's just the mana and the Sheen proc that you're going for. All right, dude. Susan could be back on the map.
All right, give me the new.
The Snoo, Death by Snoo. The RAP scaling is increased. Looks like Nunu is real, and he can hurt you. Absolute Zero getting an extra 50% of the AP scaling. That's huge. It was previously a 250% AP scaling. It's now 300% AP scaling. I will say the hardest thing about this ability is actually getting it to land at max.
That's what I was gonna say.
charge.
I'm assuming this is the max channel.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know how his ability breaks down, but yeah, I think something like that. So
That's
that's a thing.
Can't wait for ARAMs with AP Nunus. It's already fucking gross.
It's so fucking annoying, dude. He just runs out with the snowball and ints.
All right, moving on to Rakan.
Yep.
Passive AP scaling increase. Q AP scaling increase. Oh, okay. You remember? Was it a few years ago when AP Rakan mid was like
That's like when he came out.
kind of in
remember Steven
the?
really
I know
liked playing
Bjergsen
that.
was playing it a little bit. It was like, ugh.
Yeah. It's all for the W.
Right. So now the passive shield strength base is going to stay the same with 30 to 225, but the AP ratio is getting increased from 85% to 95%. Okay, I feel like that shield sucks anyway, so anything is going to help. And then the Q damage was 70 to 250 with a 60% AP scaling. It's going to keep the same base, but now the AP ratio is 70%. So, okay.
Dude, big Rek'Sai changes coming in here. Base attack damage decreased by 3. That's just going to slow her down in the jungle. That's all that's for.
It's a champion I don't play. I should probably play this
No,
champion.
this champion, like, I haven't figured out. I've seen some people on ARAMs just fucking pop off of this champion. I haven't figured out how to do that, but I know that she plays a little bit more as like a fighter assassin now. Similar to like a Yasuo, I guess, even though maybe similar to an AD version of Diana is a better comparison.
I just know. I think you either go Eclipse. It's like lethality. It's like the same thing as Aatrox.
It's just lethality, yeah.
But
Yeah, but she has more blow up potential than Aatrox does. Obviously, Aatrox is more of a bruiser fighter, and she's more of like she has that like slight assassin ability with the ultimate.
I don't like. I get really upset. Side note: I got really upset when they changed her ult. Her old ult was so sick that you could just zoom to wherever her tunnels were.
Right. Well, now her new ult just lets her just avoid damage. It's bullshit.
Also, another side note. Something that's always bothered me is her ulti is let me see, what's her ulti called? Rek'Sai ult name.
I don't remember what it's called.
It's Void. Okay, her ulti's name is Void Rush. Kha'Zix's ulti is Void Assault. Tell me they should not be reversed.
It's true.
So, because it made sense when Rek'Sai's old ult, where she zoomed, it's Rush. Void Rush. Right. Zoom.
Right.
Kha'Zix's ulti makes him go invisible and gives him movement speed. Why is that not called Void Rush? Why don't you swap it? Void Assault. Rek'Sai fucking assaults you out of the ground like a flying fish.
She does.
Riot.
She's an asshole.
Just
Riot, get your skill names right.
Switch the fucking names. You'll sell more skins. All right. Next up is
Everyone's
Rise.
favorite champion. Here we go.
Oh man, it's gonna be broken. QAP ratio increased. WAP ratio increased. Let's go. There only, it looks like, so on the Q base is gonna stay the same, but the AP ratio is going up by 5%. And then the W, same thing. Base is staying the same, and then the AP ratio is going up by 10, 60 to 70. Again, we always say this is the champion that's very scary when they touch, because he's going to be all over fucking, especially pro meta, and he's very, very strong.
I just want to make a quick side note for those of you, and we'll do an episode on this later, but the relevance of this is that Rod of Ages is coming back as a mythic item.
Ooh, yeah, we'll talk about that on Friday, baby. Rod of Ages.
Just bear this in mind,
Return
guys.
of the
Bear
King,
these
baby.
Rise changes in mind, because this could get out of hand very fucking quickly. Shyvana with some massive changes. Okay, so Shyvana's WAOE AD scaling increased. Bonus on hit damage, AD scaling increased. The E percent health damage on auto attacks decreased. The E AD scaling is increased, and the AP scaling is increased, and the R AP ratio is also increased. So let's see what they have to say about this. Right now, Shyvana's best builds are her tank ones. Despite that one time we all got one shot by Shyvana E on ARAM. We're giving her some more AD and AP scaling in place of base damage to help out her alternative and exciting build paths. So, interesting. Burnout. Magic damage. Why did I say it weirdly? Magic damage per tick. The bases are going to stay the same, but it was a 10% bonus AD ratio. It's now going to be a 15% bonus AD ratio. And the bonus on hit damage, again, the bases for that are going to stay the same with a 5% bonus AD ratio. It's now going to be 7.5% bonus AD ratio. So it's just a slight notch to try to get you to build different items, maybe flex a little bit out of tank into more fighter style like she should be, or bruiser style, I guess. Mm-hmm. The E, Flame Breath, excuse me, the auto attacks against marked enemies damage was 3.75% of the target's max health. It's dropping to 3.5%. So just a 0.25%. It's not a huge difference. I think that's kind of lame. The damage, it's going to keep the same base. So it was 60 to 220 with a 30% AD ratio and a 70% AP ratio. They're going to bump those ratios to 40% AD and 90% AP ratio. So expect more Nashor's Tooth Shyvana. And the Dragon Form extra damage, she would get additional 100 to 160 based on level, plus 30% AD and 30% AP ratios. She's now going to get 75 to 135 based on level with 30% AP and AD ratios. So this is in addition to the E base damage, by the way. And then the Dragon's Descent, the magic damage, when you cast your R, which I always forget actually does damage. Many people just cast it just to change form because that's the relevance of the ability, right? It's going to get an extra 30% on the AP ratio. So it had a 100% AP ratio. It's not going to be 130%. So I guess they're trying to go for some more build diversity. Is all I can see here. It's like you either flex into building, you could stay building tank and still do fine, or you flex into building just raw AP and you blow people up, but you lose out on your tankiness. Obviously, this champion is a very prolific demonic embrace user, so I don't expect that to change, only to get worse.
I'm waiting on the rework. I hope she's after Skarner, please.
Yeah, I used to complain about her magic damage, but I guess it makes sense that she's a fucking dragon lady.
Yeah.
Like dragons don't do physical damage, right? They are magical creatures, so like the magic damage works. Kind of like what they were trying to say about Malphite being a magical rock, but like it thematically fits better with Shyvana than Malphite. So there we are. Tell me about Sona.
Q base damage increased. Power chord E slow increased. Okay, so base damage of her Q was 40 to 160. Now it is 50 to 170. And then the E slow was 40% plus 4% per 100 AP. Now it is 50% plus 4% per 100 AP. So a small buff. It's pretty gross. I think it's, I mean, listen. Every time they just buff enchanters like just damage, it's not. Look at how Yuumi is in Worlds right now.
Yes.
Everyone's rushing Luden's Echo. They're getting nuked by her fucking Q.
Yep.
Just go full damage Sona, baby. Let's do it.
Yep. Okay. Tom Kench, QAP ratio increased, WAP ratio increased. AP Tom Kench has never really been a thing until now, maybe. Wow, okay, so magic damage on the Q. There's a lot here, so I'm not going to go over all of it. It gets confusing. He's getting an extra 20% AP ratio on his Q. And the Abyssal Dive is getting 25% extra AP ratio. So you can make use of, once again, another champion that can make use of Nashor's Tooth. How fucking stupid. Especially this champion who wants to auto-attack you just that much faster. Can make use of that. And also Demonic Embrace.
I was going to say, just
here's another one.
Sunfire item, Demonic Embrace, Nashor's Tooth. Just going to lick your butthole all fucking night.
Yep, and the question is, can he compete with Aatrox?
Probably not.
Right, that's the broken part. So who knows? You're not going to build that in the bot lane, that's for sure.
All right, Twitch. AP
yep.
Twitch. All right, here we go. Passive. The AP ratio is only going up by 0.5 from 2.5 to 3, but that's per stack. So, Matt, how many stacks? 6 stacks?
Yeah, I think so.
So 6. So 18. I don't know. I don't think the math works out that way, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
And then the E Contaminate, the magic damage per stack base is staying the same. Also getting only a slight buff in the AP ratio. So the AP ratio was 33%. Now it is 35.
I will tell you, it does work out that way. It is 18%.
So okay, so if
where
someone
you were going with it,
that's,
Yep.
I mean,
I looked it up just to make sure.
that's
pretty gross.
Pretty gross.
Pretty fucking gross. New Deer. Awakened Q will now deal a minimum amount of damage to minions. W on hit heal against minions increased. R damage to minions increased early and decreased late. So they're trying to get you to build Q max. Okay, so Q. Wilding Claw. Minions beware. Awakened Wilding Claw will now deal a minimum of 40 to 160 damage to minions based on current level per strike of lightning. W Iron Mantle. It did give a 50% heal reduction. It's going to drop to a 40% heal reduction against minions. That's the on-hit heal against minions. Sorry, I should make that clear. And the R Wingborn Storm damage to minions was 40 to 85% levels 1 through 16. It's now 50 to 80% levels 1 through 16. So better for clearing early, worse late against minions. But I think that is less relevant late. So tell me about our favorite fucking item in the game.
Yeah,
right
here
now.
we go. So Eclipse is just all over the place. I mean, I was seeing people build it on Hecarim. It's getting absolutely played every fucking game with Aatrox. And it's like, I've just been thinking, I'm like, is it better than Gore Drinker? And apparently it is, just because of the Omnivamp, the raw damage, and the shield. It gives you movement speed too, right? When you hit that 2 proc to get the shield.
Yeah,
So you get hasted a
so.
little bit. It's fucking, it's so overloaded. So
it really is.
they are buffing the bonus AD, or the bonus attack damage by 5 from 55. Is bonus? Is that the right term? Shouldn't it just say attack damage? Does it always say bonus when they're doing items? I mean, technically it is bonus AD, but it's like
I don't know.
I've only ever read bonus AD when it's on a champion.
Right. Well, maybe it's trying to make it clear. Maybe it could be for clarity that they end up changing it all to say bonus AD.
Okay, so the AD
That's
is
fair.
getting increased by 5 from 55 to 60, but the lethality is dropping by 6 from 18 to 12. Another one I was thinking of is Draven's been using this item. Just really good on Draven.
I mean, any fucking champion. We were talking about it in the Discord, guys. There is a open thread that will be open for about a week until it disappears. If you guys have anything to weigh in on Eclipse, I'm not going to put that as a question episode or poll. Refer to the Discord. It's in there. We're actually having an active discussion about what we think the item should be good for, what it is good for, what it's not going to be good for. Check it out. It's in there for you guys to access. The Discord link should be in the episode. Also in our link tree on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube as well. Check it out. Seriously. Chime in if you have any ideas or you want to respond to anybody. It's there.
So that's it for the system, and that was the only item change.
The only item change, I just want to go over the Janna because she's been one of my top played other than Renata this season. She's getting VFX updates, guys. She's getting stuff everywhere. A new visual indicator that Janna's Q will show allies which direction it's going to go. That's fucking nice because people still have had to guess if you're playing with a Janna. The base Janna is getting a complete overhaul. So is Tempest, Hextech, Frost Queen, Victorious, and Forecast. All getting complete overhauls for the VFX, so that's pretty cool. Fnatic Janna is going to be a complete overhaul, but with a custom W. Star Guardian Janna is going to get an impact effect to the Q Tornado to Q and Tornado's small update. New healing VFX on the ulti. Same with Sacred Sword. Same with Bewitching. Same with Guardian of the Sands. Battle Queen, Crystal Rose, Cyber Halo, and Prestige Cyber Halo. They're adding the impact effect to the Q and the healing VFX on the ulti.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. The new event pass, I don't want to dive into because it looks like it's basically the same.
Can I? I'll send you. Click that. I just sent you. Sorry for the bad image, slow quality.
Right.
But I have it on
seen
screen.
this.
So yeah, it's gonna look like the
Yes.
TFT pass.
Yep. Which looks like the actually, you know what? It looks more like the Masterwork chest pass
Sure.
thing.
Okay. That's better. Yeah. I'm nervous because this is putting a new fucking little hub
shit on the
client.
You know what though? It might be better than just having it in the little missions area though.
So that's the missions are still gonna be there.
Right.
They're just gonna give you like completing instead of like milestone 1 giving you 1,000 orange essence. It's gonna be like, oh, this gives you 100 battle pass points.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
So
Which is fine.
I like this. It's a little bit easier to track shit. So that's
Right.
That's fine.
And it's easier to see what's coming up. Like in the current state, you can't see how what's coming up, what your next rewards are. So
Right. Yeah, we don't really need to go over that. You guys can look into that. Bug fixes. My favorite one When using Collector as Jin, the execute damage displayed will now be 4444 instead of the 9999.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Fucking love it.
That's fucking super cool. Let's see.
Just a bunch of challenges changes or bug fixes.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. And then obviously the skins and chromas. So skins coming out are the Spirit Blossoms. And there's some actually cool chromas. I don't know where they got this partnership with Tiffany & Co. But that's a pretty big fucking
The
partnership.
Crystal Rose.
That's a luxury jewelry line. That's like partnering with Gucci or Louis V or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty crazy. So you got Crystal Rose, Uxin, Swain, and Zyra that are getting their Tiffany & Co. chromas. And they look pretty fucking sick. If you look at I really like the Swain one because he's got the looks like an olive branch almost coming down the side of his jacket. Even though it's not a big change on any of these, so don't be like, oh well, these aren't super, they're just subtle changes in the colors. But I think they look a little bit better than just the standard base skin because the standard base skin is very white. This just adds a little bit of that Tiffany blue, and some of them already have it. Like Uxin has that accent. But what they did is they said, fuck the accent, let's make it the base, and we'll accent with the white, as it always should have been. So, other than that, I got nothing else.
Yeah, that's
You guys
it.
have stuck around long enough and listened to us ramble about dumb shit like Nasher's Tooth on every fucking champion, so...
Yeah, that's going to be it, guys.
Thank
Like
you.
I said, Friday's episode is not going to be champion review. It's going to be us going over their little blurb of preseason, so some good stuff in there. As always...
Dude, there's a lot of preseason stuff coming out, and I really want to know if you guys are looking forward to preseason. So please, on the poll, are you really looking forward to preseason? Because there are plenty of times where I don't look forward to preseason because the game becomes a fuckfest. But I think I am looking forward to it. I think we're due. We didn't have any real big changes this year other than the Dragons, so we're gonna get a big shakeup this coming season, I think. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to know what you guys are thinking about that, and I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Blitzcrank and NASA. So you can either post in the question area or you can open a discussion on our Discord channel, which seems to have some good fucking discussions lately. Last few weeks, discussion's been popping off in here. So if you're not in the Discord, get in here. We're waiting for you.
Guys, the link to that is in the description, as well as our YouTube, Spotify, everything, wherever you're listening to right now. It's pretty much in there. Like, rate, review, comment, do all that stuff, guys. We love it.
Everything like that helps. Share to a friend and have that friend share to a friend and have that friend share to a friend, because that's how we grow and that's how we become more relevant and that's how we get better production. So please.
So,
Give us a hand if you like us.
until then, guys, we will see you on Friday, and enjoy your week.
Later, y'all.